Before I begin, I want to make the audience aware of the topic that I am going to speak on. It is abusive in nature, and I'm going to be going into details about this event. If at any time you feel uncomfortable, please feel free to leave the room, and my viewers watching, please feel free to mute the video. I ask that you put yourself in this scenario. You are a college student and you are reading the newspaper, and you find an ad stating that Stanford University is holding a psychological experiment and is looking for volunteers. Compensation will be given $15 a week, and the experiment will take 2 weeks. You undergo psychological testing and are deemed fit for the experiment and are accepted as a volunteer. And the experiment is simple. There will be 2 random groups of 12, one group deemed guards and one group deemed prisoners. And you have been selected as a prisoner. You're instructed to return home and you will await a call for participation. Without warning, the very real Palo Alto police arrive, raid your home, and you are arrested for armed robbery and taken to the jail, or the prison. You are stripped naked, blindfolded, deloused, and given a smock and a cap that is made from a woman's nylon to wear on your head. You are told that you cannot wear underwear, and you are given an ID number that will be your name for the remainder of the experiment. And lastly, you have a chain bolted around your ankle, and you will have to wear that for the entire experiment. You see that the volunteer guards have been given police wear and are equipped with a wooden bat as well as mirrored sunglasses. There's only one rule to the experiment: no physical harm. The guards may run the prison however they deem fit. And throughout the experiment, you are sprayed with chilling CO2 gas from a fire extinguisher, harassed and taunted. You are forced to clean toilets and do other menial tasks for hours on end. So, you start a rebellion against the guards, and they do not like this. They need to gain back order. As punishment, you have your bathroom privileges revoked. You must now urinate and defecate in a bucket in your cell. If you are good, you will be able to empty that bucket regularly. Next, you plan an escape. But a good prisoner rats out your plan to a guard, and you are now forced to do jumping jacks while being continually harassed for nearly 7 hours. They wake you up multiple times throughout the night, and you mess up your ID number during count. The guards then strip you naked and lock you in your cell with your unemptied bucket. After only 6 days of the 2-week experiment, you speak with the priest and beg him to help you gain a lawyer to help you get out of prison. You truly believe that you are a prisoner. You are sick and weak from the abuse and extreme stress. You are a participant in one of the most unethical, astounding psychological experiments conducted. The Stanford Prison Experiment of 1971, conducted by Dr. Philip Zimbardo. Dr. Phillips states why he ended the experiment after only 6 days. I ended the study permanently for 2 reasons. First, we had learned through videotapes that the guards were escalating their abuse of prisoners in the middle of the night with no researchers watching when the experiments were deemed off. Their boredom had driven them to ever more pornographic and degrading abuse of the prisoners. Second, Christiana Maslach, a recent PhD, a student of Stanford, was brought in to conduct interviews with the guards and the prisoners. She strongly objected when she saw her prisoners being marched to the bathroom with bags over their heads, legs chained together, and hands on each other's shoulders. Filled with outrage, she said, "It is terrible what you are doing to these boys." Out of 50 or more outsiders who had seen our prison, she was the only one who ever questioned its morality. Once she encountered the power of the situation, however, it became clear that the study should be ended. But why is this important? The experiment was groundbreaking, the results fascinating, the conditions completely unethical. The experiment was extreme and caused post-traumatic stress in many of the participants. Some considered it torture. But the results? The American Psychological Association states that this experiment dramatically shows the profound impact of institutional forces on the behavior of normal, healthy participants. Stephen Riker, who studied the experiment for nearly 20 years, states, "If ordinary people do terrible things, we cannot blame them, for they cannot help it. We seem absolved of our sins by the fragile nature of the human psyche." APA also states that this experiment is one of the most dramatic illustrations of how good people can be transformed into perpetrators of evil, and how healthy people can begin to experience pathological reactions due to situational forces. This experiment is reviewed and studied by thousands over and over again, and is commonly taught in materials in textbooks. The story is so interesting that there has even been a movie made about it. This behavior is also seen during times of war, and the experiment helped us to gain more understanding about it. In 2003, it was exposed that the American military police were violently abusing Iraqi prisoners. And during the Vietnam War, soldiers blindly followed orders to massacre villages, killing and raping women and children. This experiment also opened up the door to talk about ethical conditions of volunteers during psychological research. Many criticized Zimbardo, but now it is encouraged that we talk openly about the scientific method and experiments, what works and what doesn't work. In conclusion, this experiment shocked the world. The results are both compelling and appalling, but also amazingly fascinating. Psychological research continues to uncover the subconscious of the underlying human psyche. The more we experiment and study, the more we begin to understand our own species and behaviors. To understand the incomprehensible, experiments like this expose phenomenon and expose ethical boundaries. Thank you.